1986 was a strange year. On the streets of America, people were driving boxy cars while listening to rock and synth-pop on cassette tapes. The world was changing every day. And in the midst of those changes, Buick quietly did something no one expected. In the eyes of many, Buick was always the safe choice. Smooth ride, durable engine, just enough luxury inside. A brand for those who had matured, had status, and didn't need to show off. But then, there came a moment when Buick itself wanted to rebel. And so the 1986 Regal was born. Still a luxurious two-door coupe, but this time with something different. A bit of speed, a bit of mystery, and a bit of gangster character that made everyone look twice. In this video, we will explore the Buick that was unlike any other Buick, a special chapter in history, and perhaps the coolest car Buick ever created. To understand why Buick created such a special Regal, we have to go back to the 1970s. At that time, America was fascinated with the concept of the personal luxury coupe. These were long two-door cars, elegant, not exactly sports cars, but not fully family cars either. Chevrolet's Monte Carlo, Oldsmobile's Cutlass Supreme, and Ford's Thunderbird were the names dominating the segment. Buick was not left out. In 1973, they introduced the Regal for the first time. A sophisticated coupe, full of Southern gentleman charm. The car had a vinyl roof, leather interior, and most importantly, a light, relaxed driving feel. Regal quickly became a favorite choice for the successful middle class, but over time, that very success turned Regal into something far too safe. By the 1980s, the market had shifted. Younger buyers began chasing performance and sporty style. Names like Mustang, Camaro, and Trans Am were everywhere. Buick realized they were being left behind. If they wanted to survive, they had to change. That was when the G-body platform appeared. Lighter, more flexible, and adaptable to many directions. Buick Regal was no longer just a car for boardrooms or golf courses. It became the perfect chassis for bolder ideas. And 1986 marked a turning point. Buick didn't just do light upgrades. They dove into the world of turbocharging, drag racing, and surprising performance packages. The body carried squared-off, simple lines, giving a sense of solidity and presence. But the closer you looked, the more you noticed the subtle differences Buick had cleverly built in. The front end stood out with a slim, rectangular grille, divided into multiple vertical slats. Twin square headlights fit neatly in chrome housings, combining traditional luxury with the industrial design cues of the era. The long, flat hood stretched straight to the windshield, more reminiscent of classic muscle cars than a safe coupe. What surprised many was the two-door body. Large doors, frameless windows, when rolled down, created a sporty, open feeling. Sportier versions like the T-Type or Grand National had 15-inch alloy wheels, wide tires, and a small rear spoiler, transforming Regal from a gentleman's coupe into a rebel with its own style. The rear was tidy, with a wide horizontal taillight assembly connected by a thin chrome strip. The Buick logo was placed modestly, making others look closely to even realize what car it was. Compared to rivals like the Monte Carlo SS, Cutlass Supreme, or Pontiac Grand Prix, Regal struck a fascinating balance. Step inside the Buick Regal, and you'll understand why Americans called these coupes living rooms on wheels. Everything exuded comfort, spaciousness, and convenience, true to the philosophy of 1980s American cars. The seats were large, upholstered in thick cloth or leather, depending on the version, giving the feeling of sitting on a sofa. The driver could easily recline, rest their hands on the light power steering wheel, and feel more like they were relaxing than working to control the car. Space in the back was enough for three to sit comfortably, rare for a coupe. The real highlight was the instrument panel. On the T-Type, Buick boldly equipped a glowing green digital dashboard, modern and strikingly different from traditional analog dials. This made Regal part of the futuristic wave in American car design at the time. In addition, the Grand National had a turbo boost gauge, reminding you that this wasn't just a luxury car, but one hiding serious power. Comfort features were not lacking. Strong air conditioning, Delco or Bose sound systems with high-quality power windows and cruise control were standard on most trims. Once seated, you felt this was not just transportation, but a place to enjoy long journeys. Leaving behind the comfortable and convenient cabin, we arrive at the most important part of the Buick Regal. Because behind that elegant appearance, this car hides a heart that surprised many people. In its basic configuration, the Regal came with a naturally aspirated 231 cubic inch V6 engine, producing around 110 horsepower. This was a suitable choice for those who wanted a luxurious coupe, enough for daily driving, but nothing too special. Buick also offered the 307 cubic inch Oldsmobile V8 option. With about 140 to 150 horsepower, this engine was smooth and refined, keeping the traditional Buick character intact. But everything changed when buyers chose the 231 cubic inch turbo V6. This was the boldest move Buick had ever made. With a turbocharger combined with an intercooler, output reached 235 horsepower and torque climbed to 330 pound-feet. These numbers placed the Regal among the most powerful American cars of the mid-1880s. Imagine it, a two-door coupe wearing the Buick badge, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 7 seconds. That result forced many Camaros, Mustangs, and even same-year Corvettes to take notice. The 4-speed THM 204R automatic transmission sent power to the rear wheels, delivering smooth, highway cruising, yet remaining tough enough for hard launches. The strong G-body chassis gave the Regal Turbo solid control and a confident feel behind the wheel. In the standard versions, the Regal delivered the quintessential American car experience of the 1980s. Smooth, comfortable, and quiet. You could drive hundreds of miles on the highway and hardly feel tired. This was exactly why the Regal maintained a loyal customer base that valued comfort. But step into the turbo version, and everything changed. The distinctive whistle of the turbo, the shove into the seat under acceleration, and the surge of 330 pound-feet of torque, flooding the rear wheels, all made drivers realize Buick had gambled big. The car could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 7 seconds, quicker than many big-name rivals. The press of the time couldn't ignore this phenomenon. Car and driver and motor trend both expressed surprise that a grandpa's Buick could do what Camaros and Mustangs had to fear. They called the Regal Turbo a silent challenger, a wolf in sheep's clothing. If a Regal Turbo was enough to make Camaros and Mustangs wary, then the Grand National was the emphatic answer that Buick was truly serious about performance. The most recognizable feature was its appearance. The entire body was coated in jet black. No chrome trim, no shiny accents, only darkness covering everything. From the grille, to the bumpers, to the mirrors, all of it was drowned in black. On the fender, a small turbo badge appeared like a warning. It was no surprise people called it Darth Vader on 4 wheels. Inside, The Grand National maintained a cold atmosphere with a black and grey interior, sport seats, and an instrument cluster that included a turbo boost gauge. This was no longer a coupe for relaxing on the highway. It was a car born to run fast and to win. Under the hood was the 231 cubic inch turbo V6. With an intercooler, it delivered 235 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. The result was 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.9 seconds and a quarter mile in just over 14 seconds. These numbers made same-era Corvettes take notice and forced the Mustang GT to follow behind. On amateur drag strips across America, people began to see the familiar shape of the Regal. Not a Camaro, not a Firebird, but a Buick with a boxy, jet-black exterior that could leave its rivals behind in just a few short seconds. The name Buick, once tied to safety and maturity, suddenly became a street icon, making everyone take a second look. From there, the tuning community discovered a gold mine. The 231 cubic inch turbo V6 turned out to be not only powerful, but also very easy to extract more power from. With simple adjustments to the intake system and the turbo unit, the Regal, that originally had 235 horsepower, could far exceed that figure. Many Regals were modified to over 400 horsepower, even 600 horsepower, turning them into true drag racing machines. On screen, the Regal Grand National also left its mark. It appeared in the Fast and Furious franchise, helping cement the image of the jet-black Buick, with its turbo whistle enough to make it an unforgettable character. In the classic car market, a typical Regal, in average condition, is priced around $7,000 to $15,000 US. But if it is an original Grand National, the price easily surpasses $30,000. For examples in excellent condition, with low mileage and complete original paperwork, the value can double. Scarcity and historical significance have driven its appreciation steadily higher. Interestingly, the Regal is not a particularly difficult car to restore. The G-body chassis was shared with many other GM models, mechanical parts are available on the market, and the Buick turbo enthusiast community is always willing to help. The hardest parts to find are usually exterior and interior details. Original alloy wheels, the small turbo fender badge, or the correct Grand National sport seats are among the pieces collectors hunt for most aggressively. Car enthusiasts understand that originality is what raises value. A modified Regal can be very powerful, but an untouched Grand National with jet-black paint and the original turbo V6 engine is what makes collectors willing to pay top dollar. And that very scarcity has helped create the Regal's unique legacy. What makes this car memorable lies not only in its performance, but also in the role it played in Buick's history. This was one of the rare times when a brand known for safety and luxury dared to break out and produce something truly challenging. The Regal Turbo, and especially the Grand National, proved that Buick could step out of its comfort zone to become a pioneer in America's turbo era. That legacy is also tied to the emotions of those who witnessed it. For them, the Regal was not just a car, but a memory of when America regained its belief that muscle cars were still alive. The turbo whistle, the brutal launches down the drag strip, and the stunned looks of rivals all helped create an unforgettable image. Today, the Regal has surpassed the role of a mid-range coupe. It has become a bridge between past and present, between street culture and prestigious collections. And when people mention Buick, they do not just recall smooth sedans, but also remember the time when this brand dared to rebel. Perhaps you also have a memory of the Regal, Maybe it was the first time you spotted a jet black Grand National on the street and couldn't believe it was a Buick. Or maybe you once heard the turbo whistle during a drag race in a small town. For some, it was just an old coupe. But for those who love cars, the Regal is a part of memory, a reminder that even the brands considered the safest can sometimes surprise the entire world. And now, I want to hear your story. Have you ever seen, driven, or owned a Regal or Grand National? What do you think when you remember the time Buick dared to rebel like this? Leave a comment below and share your experience with the community. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Every interaction from you will help these classic car stories continue to be told, so we never forget the special chapters in American automotive history.